Hey everybody, it's GauntletX, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we have the return of Dominaria for some flashback drafts. This is a classic format. It's a lot of people's all-time favorite. I'm not that high on it, but it's a pretty cool, pretty fun set, and it's a super sweet change of pace. I always love hopping into the flashback drafts for some good variety. So without further ado, let's get into the pack one, pick one. When you've got a great mythic rare, especially when it's a colorless one, so you can shove it into any deck, you kind of just take it. That makes this a super simple decision here. This is a great, beefy, evasive threat. You do have to crew it up, but it's a great card that can potentially even draw you cards while you're beating down your opponent. Historic cards, of course, being artifacts, legendaries, and sagas. Those are the cards you can pull out of your deck with this as a card draw engine. So, great card there. But the other best options here are just excellent, efficient removal, like Seal Away and Vicious Offering. So, a very powerful pack. But we're starting with the Weatherlight itself. Very, very classic vehicle in Magic the Gathering lore. For pack one, pick two, there's several directions to go here. Now, Dominaria was the very first set where they did one legend in every single pack. They've done that for the returns to Dominaria as well as like March the Machine and stuff, but that was like the big gimmick, the big draw to this set. So, Cast Down does have a very real downside. There are going to be legendary creatures in basically everybody's deck, but it's still pretty great, pretty efficient removal. And Wizard's Retort is a very good, just great, efficient counter spell. This format is slow enough that 3 mana to counter something is fine too. But Syncopate plays super, super well in this set as well, because there is a lot of graveyard recursion, and this is, again, a lot slower than some really recent formats, where you really need to play the board immediately, so just big counter spells for late game are pretty viable, but I'm just going to go with the cast down here. I think it is good enough. And pick three, I'm very happy I took a cast down here because that leaves me very open in this pack to taking any of these best cards. Honestly, there's a lot here. This is another juicy pack. So we can take a second copy of cast down so we don't have to speculate on any other colors yet. That'd be perfectly fine. Deathbloom Thalad's also one of Black's best commons, a 3-2 that trades off and leaves another 1-1 behind that you can chump block with at worst, but sometimes you stack up into a good double block with that sapling token, so you get some extra value that way. But Knight of Grace is really hard to beat in combat early. First Strike plus maybe it's a 3-2 for just for 2. Especially if you're a black-white player, that's the most consistent way to use this. The Sap Herd, 2 creatures off 1 body is great, but Slimefoot is actually just a straight-up win condition and a very powerful build around. 3 mana for a 2-3, and any sapling you control dying now makes your opponent lose a life and you gain 1 life, and you can dump a bunch of mana into making your own saplings. And again, this format isn't like glacially slow, but you certainly have time in the late game to just dump a bunch of mana into this. You end up in a lot of late game top deck wars where you can like cast stuff like divination and draw to, sit there and dumping mana into mana sinks, and Slimefoot's an incredible one to do that on. So heading towards green black saplings ideally, and pick 4 gives us a very simple pick in that direction. There's no saplings themselves in this pack, but there's an excellent green creature on rate. 2 mana for a 2-2 Vigilance Trample, or 5 mana for a 5-5 Vigilance Trample. Both good deals, but you would much rather play this as the 5-5. So do keep that in mind. Try to treat it as a 5-drop in your mana curve generally. For pick 5, Ancient Animus. This was back when green removal was pretty bad, so if we do go Golgari, we are going to want to focus on our black removal primarily, because this is pretty bad. 2 mana for one of your creatures to fight another creature. You only maybe get a +1/+1 counter. Not a high pick, not a great removal spell. Maybe even worth speculating on another color. Pegasus Courser can get some evasive damage in, or Halar is great with kicker cards like Untamed Kavu. So we could speculate red there if black gets cut. I think I'm okay to do that because I really would rather end up cutting Ancient Animus even if I take it. And Gaia's Protector as well. Very, very filler. Pick number 6. This pack is starting to show off why Dominaria is not one of my all-time favorites. There's some jank in this set. There are more cards I would consider just completely unplayable than we generally get. in the past few years of draft. There's like Healing Grace, Power Stone Shard, Rat Colony, Board the Weatherlight. Like these get into your deck maybe one out of every 20 drafts or something. Now there's still good cards in the pack. Mace Unicorn's the best one here. It's just a good, efficient on-rate creature. These combat tricks out of green are fine, but those are a lot of the examples of what later packs in this format tend to look like, and that's part of what I remember most about the set, honestly, is that you got to scoop up the great playables early because things get pretty dry towards the second half of the pack. Here for pick 7, Keldon Raider is actually a pretty good red common. I'm a big fan of that, filtering out of any flood. But outside of that, these are all pretty narrow cards. Again, like your 23rd, 24th playable for their respective decks. Just not a good pack, but I'll take that towards the red-green kicker backup plan with Halar here. Pick 8, Corrosive Ooze is your filler 23rd playable green creature. Some decent white aggressive creatures. White aggro might be looking like the most open strategy at this pod, which is sad because that Slimefoot, the Kavu, the Cast Down, we have such a strong start towards Golgari. Pick 9. Alright. This pack's fine. So Skin Witch, if you're under a lot of pressure, you can play it as a 2-mana 1/3, but being able to mind draw your opponent in the late game off the kicker usually ends up being pretty good. We can Grow from the Ashes for splashing, or we can Blood Tallow Candle for mediocre removal. But I'm actually kind of a Skin Witch fan, so I'm going to go ahead and scoop that up. Pick number 10. Pretty much nothing here. Grab a Raider. Pick 11, Krosan Druid is fine filler. All the Saproling cards really dried up on us, which is disappointing, to say the least. Pick 13, Memorial to Glory. Wow. Yeah, I guess just white aggro is the open deck to be in here, but instead, we're going to be fighting people over Golgari, it looks like. Because I think we're not in a great position to just hop onto mono white here. And now we've opened up a great green legend. We can splash Tachyova in, start picking up some of those rampant growth spells, the Grow from the Ashes that grab a basic from your deck to grab islands. This is a huge card draw engine. Just landfalling gains a life and draws a card. Really, really good ability. So we're going to take Tachyova here and try to splash her in. Probably green-black at the core, splash in the blue for Tachyova. Looks like where it's going to be, where we take Vicious Offering very highly as efficient removal. Antiquities War is a very, very fun build around. The set did have a lot of good rares like that, where it's like, okay, 9 times out of 10, you see this and you're like, well, this is not ever going to happen. It's not going to do anything. But you can pack one, pick one it, and just make a fun, goofy deck with Antiquities War. I think I've drafted a double Antiquities War deck one time. That was fun. Because then all those random filler, super mediocre artifacts become viable in your deck and nobody else wants them. It's pretty cool. The kind of cards that can like recontextualize your pick orders. Pick 3, we've got a Baloth Gorger here, looks like the most likely option. We're going to be splashing in a 3rd color at least. So hitting triple green is going to be quite difficult. So this Steel Leaf Champion, while it is a 3-drop, it's probably not going to be castable until at minimum we have like 7 lands on board. In which case, like, what's the point? If I have 7 lands on board, I can play just a 6-mana 7/6 Trampler or something instead of this. So, not a huge fan. I'm going to take the Baloth Gorger here. Although Thorn Elemental actually could be legit as well. This can just finish your opponent off. They can't do anything but take 7 if this gets a swing in. But I like the flexibility of Baloth Gorger quite a lot. Pick number 4. Ooh, I would like to get passed from this direction a couple packs, because cards like Vicious Offering and Thallid Soothsayer, definitely the stuff that we would like to see throughout the draft. And that is the stuff that dried up real quick during pack 1. So, looks like pack 2, we're going to get a nice little Saproling core to the deck, and then pack 3 will go to being sad again. But I guess when we're sad, we could take some more blue cards, maybe. Maybe we just splash in the black for removal, because that's all our black is right now. A bunch of removal and 1 Slimefoot. So green-blue at the core, splash in. Fungal Infection, Vicious Offerings, Cast Down. Sylvan Awakening is okay as well. I always find it to be a little awkward though, because it's like not a wide enough board to like finish your opponent, but also like if you're using it on the defensive, then often it's just like a fog. I don't know, maybe I undervalue the card, but I've drafted it a lot and I've never been that big a fan of it, so I'm just going to take Fungal Infection. I just think it's a very good synergy piece with the Slimefoot. Pick 6. Now we can go ahead and take a Soothsayer. Draw some cards off any sapling production if we get enough of it. Pick 7 doesn't really have anything. We'll just grab another Ooze. Pick 8 doesn't really have anything. Pick 9. Yeah, it's just a lot of nothing. Actually, Syncopate's playable. I don't know about Off the Splash, but again, we do, if we see a lot of good blue in the last pack, we do have that alternate path to take, grabbing a bunch of blue spells and then splashing black removal. Okay, pack 3, pick 1, another Fungal Infection. Actually, Skittering Surveyor is a pretty high pick when we're splashing for a Tachiova. I'm going to take Skittering Surveyor over Fungal Infection here. This card plays very well in the set. Let's sort some creatures and non-creatures on the curve now. Yeah, by Dominaria standards, this deck looks fine. I thought this draft was train wrecking a little bit, but looking at this pile of cards, this is actually pretty good by Dominaria standards. This is a solid deck, a solid starting point here. And we've got one more pack to find our last, like, 5 playables. I think we can get there. Okay, especially if we get past another Tachiova. Ooh, hard choice between that and Yawgmoth's Vile Offering. Card is super, super sweet. Destroy their best creature, reanimate your best one. But the problem is, you have to have a legendary permanent on the board to cast this. You have to have a legendary creature on board to cast it. We only have 2 in the deck without it. I guess Weatherlight counts when it's crewed, so that's 3. But still, it's a card you can only cast, very narrow position. It does pretty much win the game anytime you cast it, but you can't always cast it, whereas you can always cast Tachiova, and Tachiova almost always wins the game if you resolve Tachiova. Like, as long as they don't immediately kill Tachiova, she's gonna card advantage you into the win over time. So, yeah, I'll take the Tachiova there, and now we'll take the Kavu very happily. Pick number 4. This pack looks pretty bad. I've already got 4 or 5 drops. I don't think I'm playing the Windgrace thing here. I could play the Grun just for another legend. With the Weatherlight, another historic card. I guess. Grun's fine, it's just a big finisher doofus. It's like a Primordial Worm pretty much, but legendary. Pick 5 looks like pretty much nothing again. I do like Arcane Flight in the right deck. I do not think this deck that's splashing blue is the right deck for the Arcane Flight, though. Just take a Primordial Worm, I guess. Pick number 6. Blood Tallow Candle is a removal spell we can pull out off of the Weatherlight. It's going to be our worst removal spell, but we're at 15 creatures. That's more than enough for this set and for this kind of deck. We can take the candle here. Pick 7. Looks like another pack of Stone Cold Nothing. Journey Mage is real good in the Blue-Red Wizards deck. That's the scariest aggressive deck in the format because it's just a really good tempo strategy. You play a bunch of cheap wizards that are like pinging your opponent as you're playing them, and then you like bounce their big blockers and just kill them before they do anything. When it's the best card in the pack, and I'm not playing anything here, so I will take it. But I think we just have to cut it. We're just not that kind of deck. I think I'd play a second Skin Witch over the Servant here, because Servant is just going to play exactly like a Skin Witch every time, except when I have the Weatherlight to draw into it, pretty much. So Skin Witch, I think, is just strictly better for this deck, because then when we draw it late, We do the big discard. Dark Bargain actually looks decent. We've got a lot of bomb power, so being able to dig towards the bombs is big with this card draw. So I'll run that over Gift of Growth. I don't think we're a very combat tricky deck. And I think we're golden here. Throw everything else in the sideboard. And build our mana base and hop right into the gameplay. Probably want... probably 3 islands, even with Skittering Surveyor. Not 4, though, so let's go 3 islands. Let's actually do those Dominaria basics. I'll change them off screen. So we'll go 3 islands. And how's the green versus black here? 11 green, 9 black. We've got double green costs. We don't have any double black costs. I guess the Skin Witches, when we draw them in the late game. So yeah, a little more green than black, but not like a lot of more. I think I'm just gonna go 50-50 instead of going for an 8-6 split. Yeah, that looks perfectly fine. We'll do that. And yeah, so this is the look of like your average Dominaria deck. A little bit of splashing, a little bit of dirtling around here. I think this looks perfectly fine. Obviously, we were hoping to get some huge Saproling synergies, but we got fought very hard there. Everybody took all of the Yavimaya Sap Herds, the 2/2 that makes a 1/1, and the Deathbloom Thalids, the 3/2 that dies and turns into a 1/1. So we have very little Saproling synergies. This is not a synergy-built deck here. This is the high power level, splashy, bomb-heavy kind of build, where we're built around, like, if we can hit a Tachova or a Slimefoot, these are the kind of cards that can take over the game by themselves. Even without synergy, you just keep playing lands, and you're drawing 2 cards a turn instead of 1. You get way far ahead that way. Or Slimefoot, if it's not dealt with in the late game, you always have plenty to do with all your mana, dumping out a bunch of Saprolings and draining your opponent as you're chump blocking and everything. So this is a very high power level, splashy pile. It's a collection of good cards. So it's more your average deck than one of the really, really good ones, like when the synergy pops off and you have the bombs and everything. But I do think a lot of Dominaria decks look similar to this, maybe with a little more Skittering Surveyors, like 2 or 3 copies of that. But it is a lot of like splashing around for the good legends and filling the rest out with solid removal and some filler creatures. So not like a super incredible showing for the format on our return trip here, but a pretty honest, pretty average look at what the set can be about here with all these powerful legends running around. It's, yeah, splashing around to run them and backing them up with removal and filler. So that'll be our deck for the return to Dominaria. Without further ado, let's see how far it takes us. All right, here we are on the draw for game 1. We really need to hit a blue source, and we'd actually like them to have removal for the first Tachova, but I'm going to hope for the best here, and I'm going to keep it. Need to find a blue source by turn 5. We have 4 ways to get one in the deck with Surveyor and Triple Island. If we could just get a Tachova rolling, that is absolutely a way to win a game, so we're going to try to do that. Opponent's got the Grow from the Ashes here for a forest. And pass turn. Alright, well, let's just poke for 2 for a while. Drop a cast down on the first threat, drop a Blood Tallow Candle on the next one. Maybe we're just going to hard cast a 10-10 attacker. Just grunt it up. Go back to some very bread and butter magic today. Mending of Dominaria, that's not very bread and butter. That's a huge card advantage engine. They're going to pick up 2 creatures from their grave, and then they're going to put all the lands in their grave back on the board, I believe. Yep, very strong card. And their first creature they found is a great one. The Deathbloom Thallid, the 3/2, and they trade off and get a sapling out of the deal. Salad Soothsayer actually ended up being pretty bad in the deck since we didn't get the token production for it. So not the most excited about that here. But if we have the mana to hold up, whenever our opponent uses a removal spell on one of our cards, we can just spend the 2 and draw a card as they use it. Trade into the Deathbloom Thallid is fine. Trade the 2-drop up into the 3-drop. They do get a sapling out of the deal, so it is a trade that is in our opponent's favor, but not like very greatly here. And it gets the Thallid out of the way so that it doesn't trade into anything better later. Okay, trading the Ooze into a combat trick is even better, because now I get rid of their combat trick and I draw a card. So this is just a better deal for me. Skin Witch, that's actually going to be pretty good, but we need to draw another land for it. But as you can see, I mean 16 life to 20, this format tends to be way slower in most games than recent formats. But you do still need to be prepared for quick decks. There are white-based aggro decks, and the blue-red Wizards deck can be devastatingly fast as well. So on average, most games are a little more dirtily like this one, but they're still fast games. Cast down that Primordial Worm here, and then top deck a land and get rid of their hand. That could be game ending. Perfect. If they have a removal spell here, they got to use it on Soothsayer, but we still made them blow it. Oh, it's the Vicious Offering, so they had to sack the Deathbloom Thallid to do enough -X on the Soothsayer. That feels so good for me. And then they top deck a land, and that is how we win. Now we're 3 cards ahead already, and then these Tachiovas take it away. We're going to play Grunn first here, because Tachiova's not going to do anything unless we're playing a land the same turn. So we play the island out now. Oh, come on. Okay, well, it's -5, right? Oh, we did so well. We played this out great. We drew great, and all it takes is 1 Mega Bomb. That has all been nullified. They get a 1/1 sapling during each player's upkeep, so they can chump block and have an extra sapling. They get 2 chump blocks per turn, but we only get 1 attack per turn. And then the Omnivore's the next draw after the Verdant Force. We have plenty more removal in the deck, but we have to draw into it. I can actually take this because this can chip away at these 1/1s. And once I'm holding up the mana for Candle, they can't afford to attack with Verdant Force anyway. Okay, Skittering Surveyor, that's a card draw with Tachiova. Another card draw. Like to kick this probably. 6 for the Candle, so I'm not holding up Candle here. This is going to be a Skittering Surveyor chump block turn. Still kill 1 Sapperling. But I would kill 1 Sapperling and they'd gain 2. I don't even think it's worth attacking with the double Sapperling producer here. Yeah, no, we need Verdant Force removal now. We have it in the deck, and we have card draw engines right now, so. The Thallid Omnivore, we're blocking it because it can get massive and just one-shot me. if we let it through. It's not it. That's not it. Do I have to candle the Omnivore and really hope for specifically cast down? If I don't candle the Omnivore, this is -5, -5, then I could top deck Vicious Offering and kill Verdant Force. Oh, I thought I had 2 copies of cast down. I only have 1. Okay, so the only way that I kill Verdant Force is by not using Blood Tallow Candle yet. Which means I don't hold up the mana for Blood Tallow Candle. Three, 4, 5. I mean, that's 12 damage. 15. No, we're not dead to letting this through. But I mean, they gain 2 off each sack. It's just not only the Verdant Force, but the Verdant Force Omnivore Wombo combo. Verdant Force by far the MVP of the deck. Or the MVP of the game. The card that has mattered the most out of absolutely everything. Without that one Verdant Force, they would just be dead by now. And I guess you can give a Helping Hand award to Primordial Worm for forcing me to throw the cast down. Because we were not in a position to just take 7 every turn. And we did not have the power to deal with a 7/6 on board. That is 6 out of 7 minuses. Oh no. Well, at least they've used a lot of their Saprolings here. And now with Baloth Gorger, I can attack with 2 creatures a turn. Because if I attack in holding Blood Tallow Candle up, then I can send in just a 5/5 Grun into the 7/7 Verdant Force. I don't need to get the double power toughness trigger like I'm getting here. Yeah, they blew all their Saprolings. That buys us some room to get more attacks in, buys us some time to know that we're not just getting lethaled that soon. Oh boy. Just the Spore Crown Thallid. That's certainly bad. Making all them 2/2s now. They get a 2/2 every upkeep. Yikes. Where are the Vicious Offerings, though? Where are you two? I need you so bad. A Dark Bargain as well as an option. That helps. Oh, they can just make this Omnivore a 10/10 on blocks. That's not the worst. Oh, I should have played my land first to see what I drew into. See if I can kill Verdant Force a turn earlier by playing the land first, because now, if I hit the Vicious Offering, I have to wait a turn to Offering plus Candle. Yep. I can Offering plus Fungal Infection for -6/6, but that's not enough. God dang it. It would be the one turn that I actually draw the Vicious Offering that I tap out before the draw. So they get 2 more Saprolings because of that. That's a punt for sure. I'm probably just going to mill out at this point. I mean, they have no reach, so if we hit a Weatherlight, that's a slight possibility. Because I need them to, like, not have a combat trick as their last card in hand here. Okay, well, there's that Weatherlight I was talking about. Okay, I might have to stop playing lands and not mill out if I can kill the force. If they have the combat trick to save the force here, I think we just concede at that point. I guess it might be worth sacrificing a creature to the Vicious Offering to play around. Like a +1/+3 combat trick. They used one earlier, so... I thought they used one earlier. Right, in response to me... Oh, it got shuffled into the Mending of Dominaria. Remember, they used it in response to me attacking in with my 2/2 ooze. So they do have a +1/+3 trick in their deck that they could have redrawn by now, so I think we have to play around it. Because it could be in their hand. Like, yeah, they have that ability at least. Yeah, they literally read their hand, so let's make sure it's -5/-5 to play around +1/+3, which is a trick that we know is in their deck and they could have redrawn by now. Yeah, just sack it to Omnivore, might as well. Drop a Weatherlight and hold up a Fungal Infection. Start poking for 4 a turn and hope that that gets there. So they can only really attack me with the Thallid Omnivore. But if they don't attack with Thallid Omnivore, then I can only really attack them with the Weatherlight. This is a nice representative game of Dominaria as a format. We're going to go all the way to milling, it looks like. Our opponent cast an 8-drop as the most impactful game, or most impactful play of the game. This is not what modern limited Magic is like. Well, when we had Modern Horizons recently, you could cast 8-drops in that set, but that's because you cheated your way into that mana quick with Eldrazi spawn tokens. Or that one time we turned 4 Kozilek off a bunch of Priest of Titanias. But no, like, hard casting 8-drops off of 8 lands does not happen a lot in recent years. Okay, so we have one problem here, and I don't think there's anything I can do about that problem, and that's that their +1/+3 trick gives reach. I guess I could wait to top deck Syncopate, but if it's too far down in my deck, I'm just going to mill out by waiting. So, I guess I send in the 10/10 Grunt. They don't have an infinite supply of these tokens anymore, so to play around the +1/+3 trick, we just send in a 10/10 for a while instead. Oh, the Weatherlight. Just rip apart a bunch of chumps over time. Tell Gorger and Kavu can start getting in as well. Take 10. Let's go. I'm pretty okay with that. If I don't play this land, I have 10 turns to kill them. If I keep playing a land every turn, I could still kill them in 5. How many spells do I have that are that impactful right now? Slimefoot? Slimefoot, Syncopate, Primordial Worm, Vicious Offering. I still have some cards that would astronomically speed up how quickly I can kill them, so I'm gonna draw the card there. Short sword, alright, doesn't do much at this point. Big Omnivore is even bigger. If I find my next Vicious Offering, we're definitely getting the Weatherlight in there. Because then we just force them to sack most of their Saprolings. And they can still kill the Weatherlight, but the cost of a lot of Saprolings. Dark Bargain, that. Best 2 cards from the top 3 go down to 5 cards left in deck. I don't know about that one. I do not know about that one. Okay. I'm just gonna end up killing a bunch of saplings either way. So I'm gonna put all the saplings up front here. So I get to kill the maximum number of them. Instead of them just sacking into that being 11 power or whatever. And I could Dark Bargain in response and try to draw into the removal for the Spore Crown. But that looked pretty good. It was a weird visual glitch, but get most of those out of the way so the Omnivore is less impactful. So out of these 8 cards, there's 1 Vicious Offering. Oh no. There's 1 Vicious Offering and 1 Syncopate. They've got 8 mana up. If I Dark Bargain, can counter unless they pay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If I hit Syncopate, I get to counter this. This is a massive deal. So I'm going to try to hit Syncopate. Ooh. Well, those are bad draws. Yeah. 4 more Saprolings. Getting quite likely we mill out then. So much Omnivore life. There's Primordial Worm. Wow, Syncopate and Offering in the bottom 4. Shoot. Shoot. God dang, I think we just mill. I don't... If I attack with Gorger, I trade into 2 Saplings. I just sack 2 to the Omnivore. So I need to be like doing wide attacks and making these 1/1s, but the only way to make them 1/1s is to get rid of the Spore Crown. The only way to get rid of the Spore Crown is to draw more cards, to hit that Vicious Offering, which is to mill out. Yeah, no, I think we just mill out. Verdant Force just went on too long. Well, there's the Offering for the Saprolings. Okay. No more card draw for the rest of this game. 100%. No more. So Offering, Fungal Infection turn. We go for swings with basically everybody. Weatherlight is probably trading for the +1/+3 trick. but that would mean that the Omnivore is blocking Weatherlight and not anybody else. So if I attack with everybody, then we get a lot of kills or some damage in this way. 12 life, 2 removal spells, 2 blockers after this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 to play Kavu. 6 to play Worm, 4 to play Offering Infection. Yeah, I have enough to play 2 more blockers after this. That's good to just attack all then. Sweet. So yeah, we kind of knew about that. Oh, it's +1/+1, not +1/+3. I misremembered it the whole time. I think I still had the sack for the Vicious Offering, though. Against +1/+1 even, so it's fine. So now they have no cards in hand, so we know we can Vicious Offering the Thallid, which is going to hurt their blocks elsewhere. Yep, and then the Fungal Infection on that triple block on Druid is going to be incredible. I think we can get there off of that Vicious Offering draw, probably literally as late as possible. It's probably our last opportunity to draw Vicious Offering and have it still be impactful enough to kill them before we mill. But we'll see. We don't know what they're going to draw into. We know they're going to gain a bunch of life here, so maybe if my math is wrong and they'll just have too much life anyway. But we're going to wipe the board and just hit with the whole board twice in a row after this. So, we'll see. I think it's going to be enough damage. When they have no board left. I mean, they have a single Thallid Omnivore, but they have 1 blocker against all this. We get to get 3 more attacks, actually. And I'm going to play more creatures. Yep, gain the maximum life here, since they are all going to die anyway. And that makes sure I don't get the 1/1 Saproling there either. There's the worm. Here's the Kavu. That should kill them before we mill. Dark Bargain. So they do some digging of their own here to find some solutions to this spot. Deathbloom Thallid. Caligo Skinwitch make me discard Techyova. With 2 vigilant threats, it's go team go. We are definitely not playing the land. Final 2 cards in deck are Slimefoot and Syncopate. Slimefoot would be incredible. So hopefully Slimefoot is on top, so we actually get to use that a little bit. If Slimefoot's the literal bottom card, then it does not matter. So sack the Deathbloom Thallid to kill... Or no, sack the Skinwitch to kill Kavu. Kill Techyova at the same time. Yep, probably their best blocks here. Good stuff. Now they have a Saproling that'll gain them life off of the Omnivore on a future chump. Spore Crown Thallid's the draw. That's 3 blockers. That is going to get exactly 3 damage in, but it's not going to be enough because of the life gain. Still going to be close, and they only have 1 block that actually kills something here, so we're going to send all. Well, that's unfortunate. Slimefoot is the bottom card of the deck. Oh yeah, they killed my Techova. I can play this land now. So yep, they go to 5. And then take 3, so they're at 2. And then even if they have a board wipe in their deck, we can syncopate it. There is one Mythic Rare Black Saga that will destroy all non-artifact creatures, but it does it on Chapter 2 anyway, so it wouldn't do it quick enough at this point. But just in case there's another rare mythic that can let them survive here, we have the world's biggest syncopate. GG from opponent. There's the GG, there's the Arbor Armaments. And that's going all the way to 0 cards in library is what we call a return to Dominaria. Alright, well, this is a risky keep here because there's not much action, but we've got all the colors all set up. That makes me a little happy, so we'll just keep here. Playing against blue-red, that's one of the best aggressive decks if they've got a well-built wizard pile over there. But their first play isn't a wizard, so maybe not the most synergistic draft they've ended up with. Yeah, they missed a 3-drop, that's great. They could just have removal for Slimefoot, but I don't think I can afford to just not curve out here. Maybe Syncopate. That's fine. Yep, that's out of the way. War Chief? They tried to build goblins? That's cute. Alright. Well, a 4-mana 2/3 actually weirdly looks like a decent stat line here against the 3-mana 2/2. Kind of lines up how you'd want them to. The 4-drop can block the 3-drop and survive. Oh, it can still block as a 0/4. So we're going to do some blocking. Blue-red goblins, okay. Well, this is not going super well right now, but I've got double removal. And then I Skin Witch them. I really don't want to have to double removal here, but I kind of feel like I do. Life totals the way they are. I mean, I have to do at least one for sure. Oh, yeah. I mean, if I remove just one creature here, then I'll still be able to block everybody off of just a 1/3. Unwind? Alright, well, double removal it is. And it's a free counter as well. They still get to play a spell this turn, like another creature. Journey Mage, alright, there's a 3/2. Get rid of the last card in their hand. And take 2 per turn now. And then try to be stable from there. Because I do get to Fungal Infection the last goblin, or Corrosive Ooze, that's better. Because Corrosive Ooze lets me start crewing the Weatherlight, and then they just don't have attacks at all. And then we win with the Weatherlight. Oops, they just don't have attacks here. Skittering Surveyor's a fine draw. Helps me crew the Weatherlight while still holding up great blocks. Grab my land. Grab a Swamp. I think I have enough mana to just hold on to it here. In case of a Techova pull off of the Weatherlight. That's a Grun. Not a bad one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I need 9 to kick this. Yes, we're just not going to kick it. Ooh, first strike is not good for me. I'm surprised they didn't equip. So they have something for 3 or less. Do they have another Unwind? Another Unwind here? No, it's a combat trick of some kind. Alright, well. Let's see what it is. No. Hmm. Is it just counter? It's just like a syncopate here, like counter target spell period, and they're going to counter Grun? Probably. I guess if I cast Grun and they counter that, then like when I Weatherlight into a Techiova, which is more important, that'll actually resolve, and that's fine. Yeah, this is so fine. I guess I could have Primordial Wormed instead, but Primordial Worm is actually better than Grun here because we want to be able to attack with the Weatherlight and the Worm, and obviously with Grun I have to attack alone for it to be bigger than Primordial Worm. Oh, I do have to chump a Goblin here, which isn't the best because of the Jousting Lance. Yeah. Corrosive Druid, hello there. We need 8 mana for that. This is land 7. Hmm. Yeah, I think I am doing these two. So I can cast whatever I draw instead of Worm, if that's going to be better for me. Techiova it probably is. Yeah, there's the concession from our opponents. Just managed to stabilize against the aggressive start from our opponent. Interesting deck. You don't see a lot of goblins running around in the format. Blue-red wizards is the most creature type focused archetype in the set. They did print Goblin Warchief, which is fun but also weird because there's not really enough goblins to make a full goblin deck in draft. So this card's like a little bit of a trap. I mean, you can play all the goblins, but there's like 2 mana 2/2s, 3 mana 3/3s and stuff. There's not like a great goblin draft deck, which is weird. It's weird that they printed Goblin Warchief here. But fun deck from our opponent. But we do stabilize and take over the long game as this deck hopes to do. We are now 2-0 heading into game 3. Here we are for game 3. We're a mono black Weatherlight deck here. On the draw, I'll keep it. We've got the Skin Witch to block early damage, the Vicious Offering for their first creature, and we're on the draw to have more opportunities to draw into the lands we need. Blue-white, starting with a Relic Runner that can keep getting unblockability when they're casting historic spells. I don't think I'm going to offering that because the historic spells they're casting are probably going to be better, and any turn they don't cast a historic spell, they just can't attack at all. The Skin Witch just auto wins the combat. Oh yeah, Danitha, way better than Relic Runner. And I'm going to be happy to Vicious Offering the Danitha. Alright, first 3 draw steps do not find a non-black source, which is quite bad for us. We've got one final chance before we really get hit here for not hitting a forest. Ooh, and then Wrath? Jeez, yeah, they got some great legends in their pod. Oh god. And we hit the worst draw in our deck. I guess Techiova is slightly worse than drawing Syncopate. The second worst draw in our deck. And found the land here. Likely a turn too late. We don't have the power on board to crew the Weatherlight because we couldn't cast creatures. This was an insane curve from our opponent, maximizing every point of mana they had from turn 2 onward. We have no good blocks. I guess I get to go 6 toughness on the Juggernaut this way. So they can only kill one of the 2 creatures, but if they have a single removal spell, that's not the case anymore. Single combat trick also works. Okay. We got the best block we could. An Honor Guard is not the worst thing in the universe, but we're just dying to Wrath before I can do anything here. The flying threat too large. I guess Ooze and Soothsayer both just trade into Honor Guard, so might as well play the more expendable card. That is our blue source, and it blocks Knight of New Batalia, or Benalia. I don't see a way to not die, though. Because, I mean, Raph just hits us twice, and that's just the game. That's what's going to happen here, no matter how I play it out. I can make sure I don't die to that flyer, but still die to Raph. I guess if I top deck Vicious Offering, we're still in it. That is not a Vicious Offering. And even if I draw it off of Tachiova, I won't have the mana up for it because it costs 2. I could draw a Fungal Offering off Tachiova. That wouldn't work either because I wouldn't have the mana up for it. I need to be able to play Tachiova, draw a card, and have a black source up. I can play Tachiova, draw a card, and have a green source up. So there's nothing in the deck that makes me not die to Raph. Weatherlight takes 3 to crew. I can't play another creature here, and I only have 2 power on board. If I Soothsayer and draw a card, I'm completely tapped out. Yep, there's no combination of cards to survive that. Honestly, 20-0 looks horrible, clearly. But we were really only a turn or 2 from stabilizing, so I think if we hit the lands on curve, this game was winnable. Keep just did not pan out for us. Yeah, if we find the right colors on curve, we already have a Tachiova down and have drawn 1 by then. Play another land, draw another card. We would be at 4 instead of 2 at this point, so I could take another hit from Raph. Plus, the really big part is that just hitting the lands on curve, we would have had enough time to have the power to actually crew the Weatherlight if I play it this turn, and then I have the blocker for Raph, and then we're stable there, and then keep Tachiova drawing to gain life and draw cards. The most important part being the card draw, but the life gain also makes sure I don't randomly die to the Relic Runner. Yeah. A little bit of a risky keep, did not pan out for us. I think we did all we could there, though. We just needed to hit the land just a turn or 2 faster. Beyond perfect tempo that game to keep up with their perfect tempo aggro start. 2-1 it is, heading into game 4. All right, here we are on the play for game number 4. Snap keep here. I'm not playing any cheap creatures, but that's not really what this deck is about. Having the Vicious Offering to stop our opponent's best aggro creature is still probably going to be enough early game when I am locked in, guaranteed to play one of these 4 drops. But especially if we can cast the Baloth Gorger. Sorcerer's Wand to start things off, so they have some wizards pinging me for 2 a turn. Cute. I'm not going to play the Skin Witch unless I really need it as a blocker, and since I don't have a 3-drop, if they play a great aggressive creature here, I can just play it turn 3. And it looks like they're not going to do that. Merfolk Trickster. Okay, it's just a 2-2. Don't mind offering here. And then I get to tap out for Soothsayer. Actually, yeah, this helps slow the game down. We have another offering and a cast out in this deck for later threats. Just make sure I take no damage on the crackback here for now. Yeah, and then their next threat's just a 1-3. Pretty happy with how that panned out for us then. 1 land draw away from Skin Witching them, which will be big. I do really badly need a forest now. I drew another double green card, but it looks like they really badly just need their second color. So they're in a worse spot than me. Second color is probably red, if they're playing some wizard-focused cards like Sorcerer's Wand. There's the second green, that's beautiful. It is perfectly possible, if not likely, they have a counterspell here. Rather they counter Skin Witch or Worm. I feel like they have enough random nonsense here that rather they counter Skin Witch. Because that still makes them discard 1 if they counter it. Make them discard the counter spell. Yeah, that's fine. Discard 1 instead of discard 2. And then our 7/6 can actually just jam in 3 times and kill. Play the 7/6 or the 7/7 first? Oh, this costs 8 mana to make it a 7/7, so we play the 7/6 first. I don't have 8 mana yet. This is going to be like 4 counter spells. I might be a little frustrated. That's 2. Counter spells are actually very good in this format, so it would be rough if they managed to get enough to have 3 in the opening hand. All right, cool. Gorger actually resolves. Let's go. Might get deep freezed or something. Maybe they're mono blue. Possible. There is a rare in every color that incentivizes you to go mono-colored. So they could have gotten the blue rare, the triple blue genie. I'm guessing they didn't, because that was a pretty quick concession. So they were probably just stuck off of a second color for quite some time. And we just get a little bit of a freebie on that one. We are 3-1, heading into game number 5. All right, here we are on the draw for game 5. Got a little ooze and a candle. Our worm in the end game. Oh no. I have drawn a second double black card in my no swamp hand. That's okay, we don't need them till turn 6. I think I hold up a Syncopate for just a 3-drop here. They might even not play one. Pegasus Courser, alright. It's a good card, but fine, I didn't end up syncopating. Alright, well, there's been a lot of getting stuck on mana today on both ends of the table. I hit land 4, I still can't cast anything. But same with them, it looks like. Land 5. Stuck off a second color over there. Excavation. Do I want to counter a 3/5? I kind of do, because if I hit any land, I'm just playing Tachova. And I don't have the mana up for Syncopate. And then if I hit another land, I'm playing Worm. I don't have the mana for Syncopate. I'm playing Bargain. I guess Bargain I can hold up with Syncopate. If I hit exactly a Swamp, I hold up Bargain or play Syncopate. So unless I top deck a Swamp, I think I just get rid of Syncopate here. Alright, well. This is an awkward game of Magic. All around. Okay, Macy Unicorn's a pretty big draw, because now they get to just start attacking. They hit us for 3 and gain 2 every turn. That's a winning race. I guess now that I have Corrosive Ooze, it isn't. And just attack in, because we know they can crack back in the sky anyway with the Courser. This just lets them use combat tricks if they have them. Ooze for Unicorn's a fine trade, but we attacked with everybody because they have the Courser, so they just send the Unicorn to the sky anyway. Trapper. Again, they could be mono white. Wow, these draws have been abysmal. Jesus. Yeah, because of their Courser, we just gotta all attack here. But we're not winning this race. we are pretty easily off top deck swamp. Cast the Cast Down or the Dark Bargain first. Next turn, Tachiova plus land would be the play. Oh boy. That's a 4/4. And that was basically our last chance. Top deck swamp, blow up Guardians. Now they can just Pegasus Course with the Guardians in. Man. This was an insanely awkward game of Magic, because, like, our draws were really bad. Like, in an average game, we would just be dead already. But they also haven't cast, like, half their hand either. It's so awkward. Red, okay, so Boros it is. Alright. Oh, you're so funny. You're so comedic. 3-2 it is, heading into game 6. And here we are for game 6. We have Ooze no matter what. Syncopate is stranded in the hand, but these will definitely have another green source by the time we hit 6 lands. Red deck is scary for this hand, and Weatherlight's also a really bad draw because we don't have 3 power to crew it with. Oh, they've got the Shivan Fire. That card's absurdly well rated for this format. And they are the strongest archetype in the set. Blue-red wizards it is over there. No early plays, though. That's certainly helpful. I kind of think I have to Gorger first to play around their Syncopate if they have one. Because if Weatherlight gets Syncopated, that's going to be a really sad time. And I guess it doesn't do anything without creatures to crew it. And if Gorger gets Syncopated, then I'm playing a Weatherlight on an empty board, no way to crew it for a long time. Yeah, we just Weatherlight. If Weatherlight gets Syncopated, whatever, it wasn't going to actually do anything anyway, because they definitely Syncopate the Baloth Gorger if we played that, and then we wouldn't be able to crew the Weatherlight for at least 2 more turns, if not more. Yeah, that is so fine. Blue-red is supposed to be aggro in this set, opponent. Please do not divination, divination. Or sorry, syncopate, syncopate, divination, divination, syncopate, syncopate. There we go. There's an aggro play. Here comes syncopate. Nope. We got a 7/6 down. Let's go. Kill that with your red removal spell. Uh-oh, that's what I was talking about. That's the control decks of the format, is just a bunch of syncopates and divinations. The blue does play super well in the slower set. Chronicler, no kick? Sure. This is my own syncopate coming up. I'm going to be holding up x equals 0 right now, so I'll just save the island for now. Oh, no. I still play it now. The only reason to hold a land in this deck is if we have a Tachiova, and if we have a Tachiova, I need the island on board to cast her in the first place. Oh. Time of Ice is a fantastic saga. You tap and stun 2 creatures for as long as Time of Ice is on board, and then you bounce them all back. Super gross. Well, still getting a lot of damage in here. And now I have Syncopate for their next play. And I just need one of these creatures to hit them one time to finish them off at this point. Only taking 3 damage. Weight of Memory. They're going to draw 3 and have me mill 3. Doesn't impact the board at all, and that's what's important, so I'm just going to let it happen here. Hello, Techiova. Can't Techiova and hold up a Syncopate for her. Get her Summoning Sickness out of the way so I can attack with her. Yeah, this game doesn't look like it's coming down to card advantage. It's like kill them fast kind of stuff. I'm dropping Techiova. They have already won the card advantage by a lot. If we syncopated the Weight of Memory, we could maybe try to go for Techiova card advantage game, but if we let it resolve, they're just going to be ahead. And that is fine. As long as we can get ahead on board, they will die fast. There's that Journey Mage. Very good card. 4 mana, 3/2 bounce a card. Unamuk the Chronicler. Play around Vicious Offering with it too. I guess I have to Offering the 2/2. This is a lot of damage coming in. Down to 8. Find a Candle. I can't hold up Syncopate no matter what I do. I can Candle Journey Mage, and I'm playing against just a 1/1 for now. Feels better just in case they have another bounce spell. I think I'd do it while they're tapped out. Cool. Techiova. If they don't have specifically a counterspell, I do have priority to play a land before they kill Techiova. So I get at least 1 card and 1 life here. Sentinel of the Pearl Trident. That is a 3/3, which is not good for Techiova. There's another Time of Ice. Oh, this card's so good. Do not pass this. It's one of the mythic uncommons. Maybe not quite that level, but it's very good. Oh my god, yeah, the Journey Mage to go to 2. And we didn't hit a land, so we don't gain a life. Oh man. Whatever creature I play, they just stun and I die. Time of Ice is just busted. Yeah, I can't do anything about the Time of Ice. 3 and 3. It is a 50-50 average run for the turn for the return to Dominaria. But we did show off a lot of what the set is like. Blue-red is by far the best deck. All of the cards just on rate are very, very good, and a lot of the decks are pretty slow and dirtily. So blue-red is really good at taking advantage of that and curving out well against them. So that's what that final game showed, but those early games also showed there's a lot of grindy, slower games as well, where you can get to kicking Skin Witches and stuff. If your aggro deck is not pretty synergistic and pretty streamlined, which blue-red is the best at being, then you can easily get overwhelmed late game, card advantage-wise, and we showed that off with game number 2 against the Goblin aggro deck, because there's just not enough support for Goblins to really get there. We did manage to stabilize when all their threats are just like, 2 mana 2/2s, 3 mana 2/2s and stuff. Stabilize, take over the long game with a lot of card advantage. So yeah, there's dirtily mirrors like we saw in game 1 where we drew our whole deck. Generally, your aggro deck has to be really good and really streamlined, as we saw with the way that we were managed to defeat the less streamlined aggro in round 2. And the best deck in the format and the most synergistic, most streamlined aggro deck in the set is Blue-Red Wizards, as we saw with our final defeat there in the final round. Outside of that, those I think are just general tips and stuff that you can take out of this draft and know about the format in general. Some things that were specific to this draft that are just variance things. It was awkward. There was a lot of awkward stuff. Really awkward mana for our opponents. Multiple of our opponents got stuck off of a second color for a very long time. We got stuck off of our colors for a long time in many games. Yeah, there were a lot of awkward mana draws today specifically. Now, awkward curve outs is just part of this deck and part of this kind of deck in this format. But the awkward mana, this deck's mana base is not as bad as it played out, and I am confident our opponent's 2-color decks that couldn't draw their second color, I'm confident their mana bases were also better than they played out. So, not a super duper great showing of Magic today, just for some rough variance stuff, but a decent showing of what Dominaria is like as a format in general, and I'm more than happy to hop into some more drafts and maybe find some better games in the future, a little bit less non-games of Magic like we had today with some mana stuff flying around all sides of the table. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for supporting the channel, as well as you for watching the videos. If you enjoyed it and you'd like to see some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. And other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.